We've got a problem. Debt explodes. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, January the 18th, and we have a problem. We have a big problem. The debt continues to explode as we see consumers that are upside down, especially in the used car market, which means that you owe more than your asset is worth, which means that your debt is exploding, which means that there's going to be some fallout to the banks. And again, this is not a pretty picture, and it will not be a pretty picture when it ends. Again, we're not predicting any end, anything in sight right now as the markets continue to soar to, well, I wouldn't say soar, but they continue to grind to record highs. But remember, we, for some reason, as Americans, as citizens, as investors, continue to ignore what is right in front of our face. And the warning signs are as clear as they can possibly be. We have seen them many times before, 1987, 2001, 2008, but we will continue to ignore them until it's too late. And of course, if you're a bank, you don't care about the warning signs because you got the Federal Reserve and the American taxpayer to bail you out. But underwater auto trade-ins are at record numbers. Okay, so all people are doing is passing on the debt, which is what we talked about here before. Is you don't people don't care about money; they care about how much is the payment. They don't care that they're underwater. They don't care that their asset is worth nothing. But you don't think that's a problem? It will be. Watch it, mark it, and of course you now have an emergency intervention in power and electricity, as President Trump wants to pass on the cost of power to corporations, which is correct, because your electric bill is going higher because of AI. Okay, now you're not creating the power that it takes to use AI. AI itself is using the power. So I do believe that happens to be correct. As much as I hate intervention, as much as I hate government to do things, this happens to be correct. The distribution of power and the cost of it should be proportioned to what you use and to where you are. And I think that this is something that should be done because at the end of the day, you aren't creating the power that you're paying for, and you're paying a lot more, and it will continue to go higher because AI is a self-generating power sucker. Okay, if you remember, they used to complain about how much power it took to mine Bitcoin. Well, AI is right now at about 10 times the cost of it was to mine Bitcoin. Okay. Now, again, on the other side of the equation, I am not happy that President Trump wants to try to cap the interest rate on credit cards. This is where we get away once again from the free market. And this is where you try to cut into and control things, which is into the socialism category. And again, we're going to talk about that in our commentary. But at the end of the day, nothing should be capped. The free market will take care of that. And this is where we've lost our way over the last 50, 60, 70 years at how the free market is supposed to work because asset classes will price themselves based on supply and demand, buyers and sellers. Okay. So I'm not happy that they're talking about capping it, and I have no benefit whatever they do with credit card rates. I don't have credit card debt myself. I don't pay interest on credit cards. So to me, and I don't invest in them. I have no benefit one way or the other. It's purely the wrong thing to do. It's the wrong message to send, and this is a bigger problem. And of course, we have, the big talk of trying to take over Greenland. I am a fan of wanting to get Greenland, but I think that obviously you should buy it. Okay, you should negotiate a price, whatever it happens to be. I think it is an important asset to own, but I don't necessarily like the way things are going about it right now. But we have bigger problems. Okay, we've got problems in Minnesota. Okay, which again we knew this was going, but the scamming, the stealing, and the cheating, and of course a lot of that money, that tax dollars going back to Al Shabaab. I think it's a big problem. I think that you're looking at, there's a judge that's one of Biden's judges is trying to limit the enforcement of of taking care of the illegal immigration there. I think that's breaking the law. Okay, there are laws in this country. There are laws in each state. Okay, you can't break the law because you don't necessarily agree with the laws are in place for a reason. You want to change it, it's like the tax code, change it, okay, but vote on it and change it, okay, because they've totally lost control. They're this is starting to remind us of back to what happened with the George Floyd debacle out there. And of course, Minnesota seems to make the wrong mistake every single time because in the George Floyd case, whether he was a bad guy or not, the cop should have been arrested. But again, that's a story for another day. But we got bigger problems as real average hourly earnings have been negative for 5 months. Again, the numbers are exact. They're specific. And I don't agree with government numbers whatsoever. But it's obvious to see that consumers are making less and spending more in proportion to what inflation is, which shows you how ignorant and how stupid the fucking Federal Reserve is. What a bunch of con men that they are. We'll say con people because there's men and women obviously involved. But the Federal Reserve is an absolute joke, okay? That is purely in business to make the banks, to take the people, the money from the American people. It is done. It has destroyed capital. It has destroyed dollars. It has destroyed people forever. And of course, the question is was Woodrow Wilson in on it, or was he too dumb to see what was going to be the end game here? But the Federal Reserve is not taking care of business. They are not on their mandate. They are not a private corporation as they're supposed to be because they're obviously more controlled by the government. Okay, so it makes a bigger problem because they don't even follow their own inflation measurements. Okay, they are way off base, and again, they're not. They're supposed the Fed's job is jobs and price stability, not to cut rates when markets are at all-time highs, not to bail out the banks. Okay. So this is the problem that we continue to see, okay, is involvement in agencies or companies bending or breaking the job that they're supposed to be doing. Okay. So I think that becomes a bigger problem as well. Uh, Canada breaks with the U.S. and cuts tariffs for some Chinese EV. Look, China is not our friend. Okay, China is not anything that we should have anything to do with. Period. Okay, I understand we buy goods from China. I'm a big fan of the tariffs. Uh, all China really is a big debt holder of the United States, and they're a world power, as we are. But at the end of the day, we need to put them back under a little bit of control because they're infiltrating much of what we're trying to do. And of course, if you haven't heard it before, this is a fact. This is not fiction. This is not an opinion. But China has had a 100-year plan to take over, and they're working their way through it. And again, I think it needs to be stopped unless you want to be part of the CCP of the USA. Okay. And I don't think, I think it's tough enough that we have socialism leaking into this country. I don't think we want communism leaking in this country. So I think there is a total mess and an economy that is the top end of the K is getting smaller and smaller, and the average American is struggling more and more. And I think that's the problem. And again, we don't predict market meltdowns or market crashes. But we will tell you, and this we will say out loud, the warning signs are getting clearer and clearer, and the trouble is mounting more and more. And it's something just to pay attention to and be prepared for. This is Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, January the 18th. We're going to step out here for a break. We'll be back with our market commentary right after the break. Bubba's Bottom Line. What up, kids? I hope everything's good. Hope you're having a great week. Hope your New Year's off to a great start. And of course, you know that the show, we have some sponsors and they are brokerage partners. Now, I have other brokers that the ones I talk about, but I'm giving to you what I believe to be the best, especially for the individual investor and trader. And of course, number one is Trader Brokerage for options and equities. Again, $10 a month saves me over 100,000 a year in commission. All of our automation goes with Tradier. I can't imagine anybody could beat at $10 a month, and I don't know why you wouldn't check them out. But again, their information is below. And of course, Capital Trading Group for your commodities and futures needs. Best customer service in the country. Answers the phone, takes care of you. I can't highly recommend them. Plus, we have a lot of partnerships with them. And of course, our partnership and ownership of Joy of Mom, which is a brand new company and an app and website to help moms, whether they want to talk, whether they need some advice. It's a wonderful program with a lot of charitable things and a lot of self-help groups from all kinds of things that happen with children. Check it out. And of course, our high school program, trying to educate America, trying to educate our children so we can get out of the shithole that we're in, because certainly the education system has been horrible when it comes to finance. We really want to help that. And of course, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line with me, Todd Bubba Horwitz, and of course, our market report. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday. It is January the 18th. And markets had a pretty much of a flat week last week. Nothing too big, too exciting. Again, you had news. You had a ridiculous bullshit CPI number, followed by more bullshit. At the end of the day, the inflation is higher. We're spending more money. It may not be going up as fast as it went up, but it is still higher. The only thing that's helping right now is the cost of gas, and I believe that that is going to continue to go down. I think that's a true sign of what the economy actually is. If you've been watching our Pulse of the Pit, we've given you trades every day, which have been very, very solid and very good, and giving you ideas in the market. And of course, we have Tomorrow Metals Monday. But at the end of the day, you've seen some craziness in the precious metal field. And if you're an owner, you should be concerned. Again, look, I'm not telling you to sell. I'm not telling you to panic. But I will show you now that if you go to a dealer and look to sell some of your silver, especially, you're going to get lowballed on the offer at about 10 to 12 to $15 under spot, because there's a supply, and of course they're getting concerned. We've seen the margin rates rise at the trading level. Again, there's a lot of fear and concern because there's a lot of people holding silver at the top that want to now get out, and the dealers are taking full advantage of it. And I think it's something just for you to be careful of. Look, don't panic, relax. It will calm down. And I think that this is just something that we have to be aware of. And this is something that you get to see within the market structure. And that's all. Okay. But you can see it happening, which tells you that silver is probably nearing a temporary top. Yes, we believe silver and gold are going higher for longer. But at some point, every market does have a little bit of a sell-off. And I think this is probably getting close to the time that I would expect it. Okay. I own silver, but actually I have some positions that are short silver as well. In the meantime, as we look at the markets, the dollar has continued to go up from our 98 cent buy and is now 99.20. The euro currency continues to go lower, which we continue to remain short. Bonds finally broke down through, excuse me, the notes finally broke through that 112. I would be a seller back into that 112 level. The bonds themselves, I would be a seller under 115. Bitcoin is right at that resistance level of 96,000. Looks pretty good, but I'd be careful. Gold, silver, and platinum continue to kind of consolidate here. They did push towards obviously new highs and are consolidating, but I think if you look at the chart of platinum and silver, they are parabolic, which means that you should expect a little bit of a pullback. Copper is now going back below that $6 level, trading at 580. I think it's a sell at $6 if it rallies back there. The grain markets had a nice little finish to the week after getting that big beat down on Monday, and actually closed back towards, gain back some of the losses it took. I think grains are a buy here as we go into planting season. The cattle markets continue to be wild and crazy, but if you've noticed, they're floating around 235, top and bottom of the 235 level. Hogs have broken out and look like they may get going. We thought that they'd be a sell at 87, but they look like they're breaking out to the upside. Nat gas has now come down to our target of 310 to be a buyer. And I would expect that if we get a little rally again, when it was 420, we were telling you to sell, and of course now we're at 310. I'm telling you to buy it. And crude, I'm looking to target 55. So we sold at 62 right here the other day, And of course, we'll look to be a seller again at 62 or a buyer at 55. But again, you're seeing a lot of movement in these markets, some a little bit wilder. And we're certainly seeing a number of warning signs and reasons to have some concern. This week is a short week. Tomorrow, obviously, no trade. It's Martin Luther King Day. But we've actually had some very big moves on Martin Luther King Day because the markets are open electronically. But just be careful. Again, we need to see more participation and more buy-in before making any commitment. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line. That was our market report. We're going to step by here for a break, and we'll be back with our commentary right after the break. Bubba's Bottom Line. Well, kids, again, I'm not going to go through the whole big spiel. I'm just going to tell you about our sponsors, which is Trader Brokerage, Capital Trading Group, the Joy of Mom, and our high school program. And we're going to get back to Bubba's Bottom Line, and of course, our commentary. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday. It is January the 18th, and of course, it's obviously football day as well today. But of course, we've talked about this often, the continuing of giving up freedom in this country, in the world. And, every government program is another step towards socialism. And of course, now we have this dramatic loss of jobs because of AI. We have more government programs coming in, which really can't be funded, which the taxpayer has to fund. But if you're not working, it's hard to pay taxes. So it's really paving the way to destroy the free market. It's paving the way to destroy the America that many of us grew up in, because every government program is another push in socialism and toward socialism. And you've heard Elon Musk say that don't worry about saving money because pretty soon you'll be on universal basic income. Realize this, if we ever get to that point, which we probably will, you're in a socialistic system, okay? Which means that whatever they give you will never be enough. And we are really destroying the true free market theory, the true opportunity for someone to, like Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, to start in their garage and build something. Because I'm a believer that in this world, in this country, you should have the opportunity to make as much as you want and should not be restricted nor controlled by the government. And I believe that's where we're headed. I think it's a tragedy that we, the people, continue to allow the government, because they are not here to help. Okay. It is the people. We are the boss of the government. They are not the boss of us. We are the ones who get them elected. And I think you need to think about that a little bit more clearly before all control is gone and before all of your freedom is gone. Because at the end of the day, every single day they chip away at your freedom by taking your speech, by taking your money, by forcing you into things that don't make sense. And I think that's more problematic. I think we need to, again, put ourselves in a position to not allow those things to happen to us. This is Bubba's Bottom Line, top of a Horowitz. It is a football Sunday, and of course, there are two games today. We like the Houston Texans plus the 3.5, and we do like the Chicago Bears plus the 3.5. Have a great weekend, everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you back here on Tuesday with another Bubba's Day update. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you later.